I would like to introduce our first guest, Vicki Landers. And it looks like she's in the spotlight, so I'll go ahead. Vicki is a physical therapist turned speaker and coach who specializes in helping healthcare professionals recognize their agency amid industry challenges. After transitioning from clinical care to leadership roles in IT and home health, she discovered her passion for teaching people to shift their perspective through different lenses to find what's within their control. She now focuses on speaking to healthcare organizations and coaching individuals to help them realize they have more power to create positive change than they believe. Please tell us about your work and then ask for what you need and offer what you can.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I honestly appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is a great organization, and I think there's so much potential for us to do something bigger and different within healthcare in the US. So I appreciate all of you so much. So, like she said, I'm a physical therapist. I grew up and went to college at the University of Missouri, and then moved to Colorado and California, and then back here to Kansas City. And I practiced clinically for 11 or 12 years, and then I shifted into management and leadership positions, as well as IT analyst and strategy. And somewhere along that time, I started to kind of notice things about people. Whenever you're in a leadership position, you have the opportunity to give people news that is change. And one of the things that I started to notice is that you could give one message to a group of people. And on one extreme, you could get somebody who's so angry and so upset and coming at you and blaming you for everything that's wrong in their lives. And you have the other person who's like, oh, okay, I got this, let's go. And I just thought it was so interesting to see the complete different reactions that people have to literally the same set of events. So I noticed that. And then the other thing is that I was trying to figure out, I moved from a formal leadership position to more of an influencer within my department. And I recognized kind of what was happening within the world of IT and how I was supporting people, and that my role was about to change dramatically from the teaching that I was doing and the strategy that I was creating to somebody who was just not going to get to interact with people anymore. I was just going to be doing analyst work. And I had become a coach because of my interest in humans. And so I left that job, and I left actually working for a hospital organization to really go focus on this idea of understanding how people see the world and understanding how I could help them see in a world that was less frustrating to them. Because the person who was so angry, they were frustrated, and I wanted to help them not be so frustrated. So that's sort of where I've targeted my coaching. But I also discovered in this process that teaching and being in front of people and helping them see light bulbs is the thing that makes me the happiest. It's the thing that like brightens my day and lights me up when I can help people see things differently. So the framework that I have is this idea of a lens that, we all have lenses that we wear. And, when we're thinking about glasses, we wear a lens for reading. We wear a lens for, computers and distance and bird watching. But we also have a lens that we wear when we're seeing situations and events. And the thing is, just like with glasses, we don't know what we're not seeing until we change our lens. So I like to help people understand this idea about the lenses that they wear. And they may wear a lens that they're a victim, or maybe it's the lens of conflict where everything is either right or wrong, or maybe it's a lens of tolerance, okay, whatever, or compassion or curiosity. And what we find is that when people start to look at their world through a lens of curiosity, it reduces the friction and it reduces the frustration and it removes judgment. And this is what's so important for people in healthcare, because every single day we are dealing with new regulations, productivity standard changes, insurance companies, denying services and effectively practicing medicine. And if we can start to separate ourselves and just be curious, that's when we can actually take back our agency and start to have a bigger effect, because we're not dealing with the swirl and the things that are going on inside of us. So I help people do that in two ways. I am an individual coach and I work with people one-on-one. People I really love to work with are like new supervisors and new managers. The people who they were a great clinician and they got promoted and then don't really have the training or the skills yet to lead and to influence in a positive way. They're just kind of floundering. I really love working with those kinds of people. And then I really love to speak with organizations, and I have my primary speech really is all about the lens that people wear and understanding that you wear a lens, everybody else wears a lens, and that the lens that you wear influences everybody around you. So you can start to change your culture just by changing the lens that you wear because it changes your behaviors, and when you change your behaviors, you influence people in a different way. So that's really what I do and what I love to do, and the thing that is the most fun because I really love to change. When I was teaching continuing ed, what I always said at the beginning of my sessions was the purpose of today is not for you to get continuing ed. The purpose of today is for you to learn something so that you can leave the room, go do or be something different that makes a different impact on the people around you. And I believe that every time I'm on stage, every time that I work with somebody, that's my purpose is to help people do and be better. So that is my scoop. My ask is that I really want to connect with anybody who has relationships with healthcare organizations that invite speakers, whether it's hospitals, honestly, medical association, nursing organizations, home care associations, leading age organizations, senior services organizations, or senior community, what are they, CCRCs. Connections to anybody who happens to book speakers or who knows people who put on events that are designed for healthcare professionals so that people can, again, wear a different lens so they can influence their world and maybe have a bigger impact on the way that healthcare is changing within the US. What I'd like to offer is that and I think this will be in the link, Denise, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm offering three free 30-minute coaching conversations that are really focused on helping the HRC members understand the lens through which they're approaching their work. If they're an entrepreneur, what's the lens that they're using, and maybe talk through some different ways that they might address the challenges that they have, just a different lens that they might use. And so that would be a lot of fun for me to be able to give that 30-minute opportunity for people to be able to identify their lens and figure out maybe a new lens that would serve them better so that they're a lot less frustrated, feel a lot less like a victim, and can instead look at an event with curiosity.
Great. Thank you, Vicki.
And I want to respond to Paul. The need for coaching for newly elevated leaders is grossly underrecognized. 100%. I am so on top of that. And organizations don't necessarily value funding that. We want to fund the CEO and the executive team, which is extraordinarily important. And the young up and coming people have a greater influence on the frontline staff, which is your patient experience. And it's the actual clinical outcomes. And so those are the people that I see that gap. And I would so love to fill that gap.